to sit back and enjoy the action. It's Celtic against Lazio in the Champions League with Pat Bonner, James McFadden and Liam McLeod.
Well, there's nothing quite like a Champions League night at Celtic Park here under the floodlights. A potentially pivotal night, even this early in Champions League Group E. As Kenny was saying, Atletico Madrid picking up their first victory of the group against Celtic's conquerors on Matchday 1 Feyenoord, as the two sets of players exchange handshakes. And with the match officials as well, headed up by the Lithuanian Donatas Rumšas, who was across the city at Ibrox when Rangers beat Servette in qualifying for this tournament. Now this is a huge one for Celtic against the third seeds in this group. Celtic, of course, were bottom seeds as the pre-match team photographs are taken down below us. But it was against a team from Italy that saw Celtic pick up the most famous result in their long and illustrious history. Record-breaking history when they beat Internazionale in Lisbon to lift the European Cup in 1967. And of course, they have this 100% record against Lazio to defend after those home and away successes in the Europa League 4 years ago. Last season's runners-up in Serie A, they were a distant second behind Napoli, who ran away with their first Scudetto in 33 years. But to finish second ahead of the two Milan clubs and Juventus and the rest was a great achievement for Lazio. Maurizio Sarri, the coach, as Callum McGregor breaks away from his meeting with Ciro Immobile, the Lazio captain. They exchange pennants and Callum McGregor takes his place in the Celtic huddle. And this place will roar. It will roar, and they'll hope it will roar plenty tonight as well. Celtic's last home Champions League group win was against Ajax back in 2013. And for a team that made such a habit of slaying the giants of European football in this very stadium, on this very stage, right at the start of their adventure in the Champions League, it's quite the come down. But this would be quite the place to begin it again on Matchday 2 and reignite their hopes of European football in the spring. Lazio kick off, dark blue, change kit right to left, smoke billowing across the stadium. Celtic in their green and white hoop jerseys with the white shorts, white socks will go left to right as we watch from the main stand. Up above the Lazio technical area, the Italians kick off. Celtic shooting towards the Lisbon line stand in this first half, and it's picked up over on that right hand side for Lazio with Kamada, who was part of that Eintracht Frankfurt team that beat Rangers in the Europa League final. A year past May, scored their third penalty in the shootout. New signing, big signing for them. Big boots to fill in Milinkovic-Savic, who went to Saudi. As Lazio get a feel of the ball early inside their own penalty area. Providal, the keeper who scored their equaliser with that header against Atletico in Rome. As Celtic put some pressure on, it bounces off Matt O'Reilly and behind for the goal kick. Couple of changes for Celtic from the side that started the game against Motherwell at the weekend. Joe Hart was suspended for that. He comes back in this evening in place of Scott Bain. Nat Phillips comes in for the suspended Gustav Lagerbilke. Hart in goal, Johnston, Phillips, Scales, Taylor, O'Reilly, McGregor, Hatate, Yang and Maida either side of Kyogo. Can they get him engaged in the game? As it's passed back by Kamada to the right-hand side, it's picked up there by Patrick. The Spaniards charged down by Taylor, and out for a Lazio throw-in over on that far side. So both teams, Paki Bonner, just trying to feel their way into what is a crucial game for both of them, really.
Yeah, and Lazio is just trying to take the heat out of the game, just keeping it in their own, almost in their own penalty box, and not having got up the pitch yet, but just passing the ball, using the goalkeeper, just enticing Celtic onto them a little bit, and being very you would call it casual, but I think being tactically aware of how do you have to try to kill this game off a little bit.
Maida all over Luis Alberto in the halfway line. It's back with Romagnoli, who turns it to Patrick to his right. Long ball from him, trying to get Lazio engaged up the other end of the pitch, and there was an opportunity for Felipe Anderson in behind Liam Scales, but he's in an offside position. Flags up, 0-0 in the opening couple of minutes, and James McFadden with us as well.
Yeah, it's no surprise, you know, Maurizio Sarri, the phrase is, you know, famously Sarri ball. It's no surprise that they are taking those risks and playing out from the back, and as Paki says, across their own box. What that's doing is inviting the pressure from Celtic. You can see, you know, Yang is playing on the left. We thought that'd be Maeda. Maeda's on the right. But it's allowing Celtic to go and press them, and you just mentioned that Greg Taylor's up there pressing the right centre back because it's inviting that pressure. But then, you know, Lazio have shown they'll play that ball in behind, down that channel between Scales and Taylor, and he was offside, but it's still that threat they have that pace on the counter-attack as well. But I think the early stages, these very, very early stages, are that Lazio are going to try and build from the back, and Celtic are looking to go and press it and try and nick the ball up as high as they can, which we're not surprised about.
Taylor out to Hatate, midway inside Lazio territory, wide on the left in front of the big north stand, rolls it back infield to McGregor, and then back out to the left for Taylor, then back to Callum McGregor. How involved can he be? Can he dictate things from the midfield? If he does, there's generally success for Celtic. McGregor forward to Hatate, just bounced off his shin and allowed the challenge to be made there by Vicino, the Uruguayan international, but Celtic pick it up wide on the left hand side, and it's Yang who started out there on the left. Maida's out on the right hand side as there's a trip over there which results in a Lazio free kick. It was on Kamada, who's in amongst his international teammates in the Celtic squad tonight.
Yeah, we've got to see something from Yang tonight, playing over that left hand side. His first touch tonight got away from him, and give the possession back to Lazio, and that's so he's got to be a little bit more careful.
But on that one there, when it goes out to him, Greg Taylor's desperate to go and get in support and go beyond him. He does that, which means Yang has to come back the way. He should just leave him 1v1 and see what he's got and try and get the beating of his opposition player.
Chance down this right hand side for Husai, the Albanian. It's picked up there, Luis Alberto. It's a long ball from him. He couldn't quite find Felipe Anderson though, so he tried to switch it out to the right hand side of the Celtic box, and it goes behind for the goal kick. Luis Alberto, well known to Brendan Rodgers. He gave him his debut at Liverpool 10 years ago in a match against Manchester United, as it's picked up by O'Reilly on the near side, rolls it down the right hand touchline for Maida, level with the edge of the centre circle. He's challenged, and it draws a Celtic throw in, which Johnston takes quickly, bowling it back to Nat Phillips. What a big night it is for Nat Phillips this evening in beside Liam Scales at centre half.
Yeah, I think
Carter Vickers incidentally packing back in the bench.
Yeah, which is really good to see, and unfortunately I don't think he'll be fit or match fit definitely, but I think they won't take a lot of chances with him at this point in time.
Celtic putting the pressure on, but it pings Luis Alberto's way right in the middle of the pitch, the number 10, long ball looking for Immobile. It comes all the way through to Hart, and Ciro Immobile is holding his face as if he's taking a blow there. He's just dusting himself down. Celtic have it with McGregor into the centre circle. Hatate to O'Reilly, back to Hatate, scoops it up high looking for Maida. It's an easy header forward there by the Lazio number 23 Husai. He's a vastly experienced Albania international, been playing in Italy for many years now, in the top flight there, and he's on it here. It's away from Maida, but not from Johnston, whose tackles managed to ping it up the line to Maida, infield to O'Reilly, to Hatate, O'Reilly, but Lazio are pressing the game well here, and they've won it back. There's Zaccagni, who's been brought crashing to the ground right in front of the Lazio dugout, and that's going to be a free kick to the visitors. Yeah, and Alistair Johnston being spoken to by the Lithuanian referee.
Definitely a free kick. What they don't want any Celtic player going in the book early, that's for sure, in this game, because you know what happened in the last one. Suddenly 2 players sent off, so you can't afford to take those kind of chances and go into heavy tackles early on. Just looking at Lazio, they are well drilled, and that's what you expect from an Italian team also, especially under Sarri, very experienced coach, 64 years old, been around, obviously gone to England and that, but he will be drilled in that whole organisation defensively too.
Yeah, he wasn't sacked by Chelsea. He won the Europa League with them, but he wanted to get back and be closer to his family back home. The Naples native. It's flicked on there by Felipe Anderson, and it breaks the way of Scales from Luis Alberto, and back to Joe Hart, who rolls it to Phillips on this near side. Long ball from him. Kyogo was in an offside position though. It's going to come all the way through to the goalkeeper. It's interesting, Packy, because Brendan Rodgers at his media conference here last night made no secret of the fact he wanted his team to make a really fast start to proceedings, get a lot of speed in the game. Yeah, Lazio have doused that.
That's it, and they've done it very, very well, because that's the experience of Lazio. They're a European team. They've just taken the heat out of the game by keeping good possession, using their goalkeeper, keeping it short little 1-2 passes, not allowing Celtic to really close them down. Just looking at that, they push right up the back four, by the way, when the ball's a little bit more deeper in Celtic's half. That's an opportunity for Kyogo. If he gets his timing right on his runs with his pace, just play that ball over the top. The last time he didn't go because he was offside, but he must now recognise that this team is pushing up a very, very high line.
They haven't been able to get the fast start in possession, but out of possession, they're streaming bodies forward. They're putting Lazio under as much pressure as they can, and you know, Packy's right, they're using the ball very well, but Celtic are fully committed to the press, and you know, if you don't have the ball and you're not using it well enough, then how else can you affect the game? By putting pressure on the ball, and they've done that really well without getting too much success so far. But Lazio will play, and they will continue to knock the ball about the back. I think there will be openings for Celtic, and on the point you mentioned about Lazio squeezing up, when you've got Kyogo, who likes to stand in offside position, and when, you know, in the build-up, then he becomes alive. If Celtic are going to go direct, then he has to make sure he gets back in that onside position to exploit that space in behind, because you're right, there is a mass of space in behind if Kyogo can get that right.
Long ball forward is headed clear by Phillips to the edge of his own box with Immobile in behind him. It's with Scales to Taylor to O'Reilly to McGregor. Nice passing by Celtic, but it's not in an area they want to be in. They want to be further up the pitch, and that's flicked on by Yang. And it's going to be booted forward there by Romagnoli on the halfway line. It's picked up here by Immobile. Tries to slip it through towards Felipe Anderson, and there's a misunderstanding between the two of them. And it's back with Joe Hart as we tick on to 9 goalless minutes here on Matchday 2 in Champions League Group E. It's back with the Celtic goalkeeper, who plays it short to Scales. Lazio sitting 17th in the embryonic Serie A table just now, just 2 wins. One of those victories was in the Maradona against the champions Napoli, though. They lost 2-0 in the San Siro against Milan at the weekend. Immobile was rested from that game, having suffered a head knock. He's back in the starting 11 for them tonight, as McGregor goes back to Phillips, who squares it to Scales. Scales with the left foot along the grass for Yang, who was surely brought down there. The referee's allowing Celtic to continue with Hatate. Now Yang on the left-hand side. Rolls it back infield to Hatate. Little touch to Kyogo. Couldn't get the ball under control. Hatate picks up the scraps. Breaks to Kyogo from O'Reilly. Still alive as it comes off the defender. Yang to the overlapping Hatate at the byline. Inside the box. Celtic Park awaits the cross from Hatate, but it's blocked. And it's back to Hatate. Back to the left angle of the area for McGregor. Hatate wide in the touchline. Low ball to Taylor. Chance here potentially for Celtic. McGregor wins the corner. That'll do them right now. First real opportunity for them in the final third to make inroads, and they've got their first corner of the evening of the Scottish champions against the Italian runners-up. 10-0, 0-0.
Plenty of pace in that attack. Yang, excellent little flick, give and go.
Outswinger from O'Reilly, into the box it comes. It's bounced a couple of times and away. No touches, and it breaks to Hatate over on this near side. Level with the edge of the centre circle. Back to it for Johnston, who slips it to the left for McGregor. Side football out to O'Reilly wide on the left. Celtic beginning to flex their muscles here. Out to Taylor, back to McGregor. Johnston's moved into the inverted position, but it's passed back to Scales and now to Phillips. And it's the former Liverpool defender who finds Scales to McGregor, then out to the left-hand side for Taylor. It all slows down a little bit. Celtic able to play the game in front of Lazio for the first time so far. Still relatively early in the piece, as Johnston finds Maida on the near side. Skips infield, just jinking himself away from Husai into the box for Kyogo! Kyogo slides it home underneath Providal! And Celtic at the dream start! The first Champions League goal of the season! And who else but Kyogo Furuhashi gets it! As this place absolutely erupts! It's a massive goal for Celtic! from the right boot of Kyogo, and it's Celtic 1, Lazio 0.
Beautiful goal from Celtic, lovely one-touch passing, but it comes from Matchday taking a great touch and driving inside and playing a lovely ball in. I think it was O'Reilly, was it, who played it first time for Kyogo, making that little run. And we talked about beating the offside trap. He does it perfectly, and then, of course, that finish at the end, right through the goalkeeper, James.
Oh, it's an absolutely sensational goal from Celtic, it really is. Kyogo dropped into just an inside right area, and it looked like Alistair Johnson was just going to play it into his feet. He doesn't, he plays it to Maida, who's on the last line of defence, and it looks like he's going to open up and drive up the line. He doesn't, he takes a brilliant touch inside, drives into the heart of the defence. Matt O'Reilly's picked up an unbelievable position just on the edge of the D, at the edge of the box. Kyogo's made the run, the pass into O'Reilly, it opens up, side foot, left foot, first time pass into the path of Kyogo, perfectly weighted. And when he gets into that area, we spoke about Celtic taking their chances. He makes no mistake. It's a brilliant finish. It is a top-class goal from Celtic.
It's a Champions League goal from Celtic, and Kyogo was the man to deliver, as he has done so often. Celtic's golden man, who normally leads to the silver as well. Kyogo, and he's off the mark in the Champions League for the season. That is his 5th goal of the campaign, all told, as Celtic get a free kick inside their own half.
Liam, it comes from Celtic in really good, comfortable possession, not forcing it. Spoke about the fast start. It's not gung-ho and fire the ball forward. They've given respect to Lazio, as you would expect, but they look so comfortable in possession. They're playing out in the midfield, they're wanting it from side to side, they're trying to probe those openings. As Packy mentioned, you know, that Lazio backline, they're now on the halfway line. Celtic with the ball in line with the 18-yard box. They're not given too much space, so Celtic have to be patient, and it comes from real patient build-up play.
Poor header by Taylor, though, just gifting possession back, and it's Patrick, the former Barcelona trainee. He elects to pass it back onto the halfway line, where it's collected here by Matthias Vicino, back to the right-hand side of the centre circle. Patrick out to that right-hand side, Kamada. He's got the overlapping wing back down that far side, Lazzari, and his attempted cross ball is cut out, and out it goes for a throw-in. Lazzari started both those games against Celtic 4 years ago for Lazio, and what's a vastly changed starting 11 for both clubs, really. But it's Celtic who have the advantage here. We've played 14 minutes, and that will do them the world of good. Getting that first Champions League goal of the season as Brendan Rodgers hunts down a first ever Champions League victory inside Celtic Park as manager.
Yeah, and it wasn't an easy start for Celtic because they couldn't up the tempo that much, you know what I mean, because of the way that Lazio started, taking the heat out of the game, passing the ball, but the up the intensity of passing and movement when they had the ball in that final third, and that's the key.
Vicino pings it out to the right-hand side, Felipe Anderson, but it's a poor touch from him, allows Taylor in, and he turns it back to Liam Scales. On the left foot, low ball forward, he gave it to Vicino, but he couldn't get a decent touch on it, so Celtic get it back. Taylor to O'Reilly, to Hatate, and he does brilliantly under serious duress there to pass it back to Phillips on his 18-yard line, and they passed it out beautifully between Phillips, Johnston and McGregor. Back to Johnston, to Kyogo, up the line for Maida, skips infield in the Lazio half, back to the right of the circle for McGregor, short ball square to Hatate. Hatate then to Johnston, and then back to Phillips. Caught in two minds rather there, Immobile all over him now, and he eventually releases it to Maida. First time to Kyogo, first time to Maida, first time to Kyogo, first time looking for O'Reilly, but he puts it straight to Patrick, and Romagnoli goes back to his goalkeeper. This game's here for the taking for Celtic. They have the lead, they've built the foundations, but Felipe Anderson's in behind Taylor, takes a heavy touch, and Scales crashes into the challenge, thunders into Felipe Anderson, and sends the ball high into the north stand on the far side. It is Celtic 1, Lazio 0. Is it going to be one of those special Champions League nights here in Glasgow's East End that the Celtic supporters have been starved of for so long? Yeah,
that was good defending from Liam Scales, because Anderson had left Greg Taylor for dead, just nipped it round the corner, and his speed took him away from Greg Taylor, but Liam read it really well and got across. Not alone did he read it, but he put that brilliant strong tackle in this, which you have to do. You've got to do it, and he got away with it.
There was a tackle for the ages, wasn't it, Packy?
Here comes Celtic on the left-hand side with Yang. He wanted too long, but it might break Maida's way. Maida's in the box, shoots with the left foot, but drags it well wide with Kyogo making his way onto the 18-yard line with not a single Lazio defender near him. Maida, I think, given he wouldn't have been able to see Kyogo unless he was eyes in the back of his head, because the one thing he's looking at is that big white goal frame as soon as he found himself left-hand side of the Lazio box.
Yeah, it's brilliant, you know, Maida coming off that right-hand side, going into the central position, capitalising on that slack pass, and when it gets in, it's a poor touch. It takes him further wide. He can take it forward, but he takes it further wide onto his left foot, and you're absolutely spot on. I mean, he's got 4 lungs. I'd be amazed if he had 4 eyes as well in the back of his head, but there's no way he can see Kyogo. And I can't really blame him for taking the chance, but the chance is gone as soon as he takes his touch wide. Very, very difficult to score from that angle, especially slightly off balance, but it's another positive because I capitalised on mistakes. They're using that pace that we know Maida has, and it's another positive. And now, you know, Celtic are behind the ball, they're forcing Lazio to build up, and they've got a chance to go and nick it.
There's a chance for Lazio driving forward. Luis Alberto looking for Immobile inside the box. Phillips cuts it out and puts it behind for a Lazio corner. This will be their first of the evening. We're almost on 18 minutes with Celtic leading by that 11th minute goal from Kyogo.
Yeah,
but this is a big moment, this first test from a set play for the Celtic defence.
They've got to man mark really well now because the Italians will be strong in the air. Fasinho's come in the middle of the pitch, the big holding midfield player, and he's probably the tallest of all.
Yeah. The delivery will be outstanding.
It's going to be an in-swinging corner from this main stand side as Lazio attack the goal to the left, the Jock Stein stand end, and it comes headed away by the leaping Maida. Hatate doesn't really get much in the clearance, kind of sliced at it, but gets a second attempt, gets it up towards Yang, comes back towards Hatate in a congested midfield, 2 players down. Hatate looks as though he's taken a blow to the head, but it's actually been given as a free kick to Lazio, left-hand side of the Celtic half, midway inside it.
Yeah, I think Brendan Rodgers is calling the referee or shouting at the referee. He thinks he got an elbow at Hatate in the face from just instant before the final free kick that was given. So he's just gingerly getting to his feet.
It was Yang as well, showing that, you know, we're looking at this guy being a tricky winger and want to take people on, and the balls are up in the air. He's been physical. He's putting the challenges in, and he does that again. I mean, it's 50-50 for me whether it's a foul or not. I think it's 2 players challenging for the ball, but he's showing that he's willing to get stuck in as well.
Free kick, Luis Alberto with it right-footed into the Celtic box, headed half away by Scales, and Hatate volleys it to safety with the left foot. Celtic coming under a little bit of pressure just in the last few minutes. Lazio have the ball again in the Celtic half. It's Luis Alberto, goes back the way to Romagnoli, and he turns it back to his goalkeeper, Husai, who's back there to play it back to Provedal. I mean, he can only dump it into touch over on the far side. Celtic throw-in, which Taylor takes quickly back to Liam Scales. There's a second ball on the pitch momentarily, so the play is going to have to be stopped by the referee for that ball to be replaced, and Celtic will have it deep inside their own half when play is restarted with the uncontested drop ball.
We spoke about Lazio squeezing the game. When Kyogo is going to press Provedel there, the Celtic backline are on the halfway line. Every player is covered, forcing that long ball.
Celtic giving it away in a really poor area. They've got away with it. Lazio wouldn't fall for them, but it's with Vicino now. The number 5 finds Felipe Anderson, who rolls it back to Vicino. Now it's with Luis Alberto, right foot dink ball to the left of the box for Immobile, but he's having to come out to the near side to try and keep it in, which he can't do. The now veteran striker, Euro 2020 winner with Italy, and it's out for a Celtic throw-in. Immobile I don't think he even lasted the hour in that final against England at Wembley a couple of summers back, but he still has the winner's medal, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, it was just Liam Scales there that took his eye. His concentration level went down, right in a bad position, right in front of the 18-yard box, and you always know at this level here, if you make a little mistake, the opposition will pounce. You can't get away with it at times.
21 on the clock, 1-0 Celtic. Lazio in possession though. It's prodded through into the Celtic box, but Scales with his arms outstretched leaves it for Joe Hart. He comes out and bowls it to the Irishman. Side football forward to McGregor, first time he too with the left, out to Taylor on the touchline. Taylor up the line for Yang. Yang challenged there by the defender Patrick, and it comes off Yang last and out for a throw into Lazio on the far side. Just looks as though he hasn't managed to get the pace of the games yet, Yang. I mean, he's undoubtedly a talented player. Celtic wouldn't have signed him otherwise. He's 21 years of age, the South Korean winger, but he's struggling to get involved in the games. Alistair Johnston, meantime, has got a problem. He's come over to this near side to receive some treatment.
I think he's got a cut on his knee or something, and the referee has put him off the pitch, so they'll have to dress that up very quickly and get him on, because they're down to 10 men.
Maida's gone back into right back momentarily, approaching the end of the first quarter of this one. Johnston wants back on, and Brendan Rodgers isn't happy either, but his team are down to 10 right now through no fault of his and through Johnston's, and he's coming back on now. And the fourth official had spotted the blood coming from the cut as Lazio give it away anyway. Chip ball forward, goes behind for the goal kick, and it's a Celtic goal kick. And actually, when you look at Lazio, I mean, they've obviously got extremely capable players out there, undoubtedly. They are playing like a team that is not confident right now.
Yeah, their main tactic is they're playing down the right-hand side, trying to get Anderson in with some long balls. You've obviously watched Greg Taylor in the positions that he picks up as an inverted full-back, and they feel that there's a bit of space there that they can exploit. So when the centre-halves get a ball, they're playing it over the top of Greg Taylor, and that's where Liam Scales has got to be tuned in, and Greg himself has got to be tuned in that he doesn't get caught ball watching.
Lazio already 11 points behind the Italian league leaders Inter. Just those two victories, as Kamada's adjudged have used an arm there. I'm not sure he knew too much about it, and coach Sarri isn't happy either, but it is a Celtic free kick inside their own half. And it's back with Phillips, who squares it out to the left of the box for Scales. Forward down the left-hand touchline for Taylor. Taylor with a left foot chipped forward onto the chest of Yang, who moves into the centre circle, shows too much of it though to Luis Alberto, but he can't make anything of it, and Scales is it back. And out to Taylor it goes. Taylor with a long ball, looking for Yang, cut out by Patrick. And it's picked up by Lazzari over on the far side, and then there's a foul. And one of the Lazio players over on the right, that's going to be I think it was Lazzari himself who was brought down. That's going to be a free kick to the visitors. 1-0 though to Celtic.
Yeah, the Celtic have just lost a little bit of control in the game now. They've allowed Lazio to get a bit more comfortable, and they're kind of pinning themselves back into their own half. Celtic.
Patrick has it, rolls it out with the left foot to the right-hand touchline for Lazzari. Forward to Felipe Anderson, back to Kamada, looking for Lazzari down the right. He almost found him. Scales read it though, and out it goes for a throw-in. And a couple of little nervy passes from Liam Scales tonight, but by and large he's done pretty well so far, and he's done excellently since coming into the team after that difficult match here against St Johnstone. An excellent performance at Ibrox, and he didn't look out of place in De Kuip a couple of weeks ago either for the majority of the match, and this is a big night for him. I bet he can scarcely believe he's getting this opportunity.
Yeah, the more he's in the team, the more he'll get composure, the more he'll get experience, the more he'll know when he gets a little bit agitated at times. That's the only thing. But actually, when he gets the ball to his feet on the left-hand side, I'm much more comfortable than when I see a right centre back there, because I'm always looking and waiting for the mistake to happen in their passing.
Yeah, and I think that, you mentioned that, the tactics clear. They want to get it to Felipe Anderson. But Liam Scales has read it so well every single time he's stepped across. Yeah, look, he looks a little bit nervy at times when he's on the ball, but he's been asked to take the ball more than probably he's ever done, and he loses it again.
Luis Alberto picking up the scraps to the right of the box here for Felipe Anderson, taking on Taylor. His cross ball comes over. O'Reilly can't get a touch on it to head it away. Immobile to the edge of the penalty area for Luis Alberto. It's a lovely ball. What a save from Hart to deny Immobile. That looked an equaliser all the way, but the flag's got up anyway, and it stays Celtic 1, Lazio 0. 25 and a half on the clock. It was a lovely ball in there by Kamada for Immobile. His shot was saved brilliantly by Joe Hart, but the flag went up in any case.
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe Hart didn't know the flag was going up, so he pulled out a brilliant stop. And again, we talk about Joe. He's in the team because he makes those big saves at the right time. But what a wonderful little bit of improvisation from Kamada to lift. He was going nowhere because everybody had closed him down. He just flicked it over the top to Immobile, who had straight offside.
I'll tell you what, it's an incredible hit from Immobile, because he's in there a long time. Temptations to go with the laces and go for power, but he gets power on the side foot, a little bit of bend on it. It's an incredible save from Joe Hart, and as you say, he doesn't know the offside flag's going to go up. Massive save, which, you know, on another day could have been really important. But, you know, the point I was making about Liam Scales is he's probably never been asked to take the ball as much as what he has.
No.
But he still takes it. Yes, he takes a risk and he'll make mistakes, but his reading of the game so far, I know we're only very early in, his reading of the game's been exceptional. The tackle that he had earlier on Felipe Anderson, that is a tackle for the ages, where you slow down a little bit, make sure you get the ball, make sure you get a little bit of the man, not anything nasty, but just to let him know, listen, you're not going to get a run of the pitch tonight. He's been excellent since coming into the team.
Yeah, and the thing is, if Aberdeen had offered Celtic the money that Celtic wanted for him before the injuries took hold, he could have been away. Now he's playing Champions League football, but here come Lazio enjoying their best period in the game, and it's picked up by Felipe Anderson, right of the Celtic box, rolls it to the edge of the area for Kamada. Shot is blocked by McGregor on 18. Here they come again though. The Celtic fans getting a little bit agitated as Lazio come down the left-hand side. Husai, and Husai wins the corner.
Yeah, it was. I would have probably stayed on my feet there. I wouldn't want to give away a corner, to be fairly honest. He slid in when he was going to play the ball backwards. You know, I know he was trying to do the right thing, but it just. What would you prefer, James? Corner or just close the man down?
Just close him down. Doesn't have to go and commit. You know, the delivery from Luis Alberto is exceptional.
Yeah, he's going to take this one. Luis Alberto, he's gone for the back post, looking for Immobile, and it's headed behind for another corner at the back post by Johnston.
Yeah, just looking at the way that Lazio obviously set up for the corner, every single one of them had gone into the 6-yard box, obviously to put pressure. This time, different corner from a different side, they're all hanging out, so they've been working on these set pieces.
It's an outswinger now, but I'm convinced in the inswingers they pack that box for Luis Alberto to have a shot at goal, because he puts that much pace on it, the pace and whip, that any kind of touch, it's trouble for the goalkeeper.
Maurizio Sarri was down there barking the orders, led Chelsea to their Europa League win a few years ago. As the corner comes in, it's headed by Romagnoli. Hart makes the save, but I think it's gone over the line. Lazio claim it's over, and the referee agrees, and the Italians are level. Romagnoli won the first header, but it's Vitinho who's got the final touch onto it. He nods it past Joe Hart. He was diving helplessly to try and keep it out, but it's gone over the line, and it's now Celtic 1, Lazio 1 on 29 minutes.
Yeah, Celtic just couldn't compete in the air with them, because they all hung out round about 15 yards out, and suddenly 1, 2, 3 comes in, attacks that ball that was driven into the box. There maybe you're looking, maybe could Joe Hart come and get a punch on it beforehand. He's crowded out a little bit, but then he wouldn't have to make the save. But unfortunately for Celtic, the ball is over the line and it's a goal. They will check it, but it's definitely going to be a goal.
I know you're saying, can Joe Hart come and get it? I think when the ball's put out so far, it's very difficult. We spoke about the number of bodies in and around the box.
1-1.
It's difficult for Joe Hart to come and get it, and he almost produces another top-class save. He gets something on it. He just has to wait, because there's so many bodies. He has to wait to react, and he reacts well, just not well enough to keep it out of the back of the net. But we spoke about the danger that Lazio pose from these corner kicks. This one was an outswinger, but they still have the bodies and the aggression in there to go and win. They keep it alive, and for them to get the reward, Celtic just can't clear the ball.
And it was, I think we've just been saying, it's been Lazio's best period in the game as an attacking threat, and they've found their equaliser in the half-hour mark now here in Glasgow. Vitinho's second of the season. He scored against Torino in one of Lazio's 2 league wins thus far. The other coming in Naples, as the goal scorer picks up in the centre circle and rolls it to the left for Luis Alberto, who chips it forward, and giving chase down this left-hand side is Zaccagni, but it's gone away from him and out for a Celtic throw-in, which Phillips takes now with O'Reilly to Johnston and then to Phillips. And Celtic will want to try and not let that affect them too much, but they've also got to try and get a control, some kind of semblance of control back in proceedings here, because it's just getting away from them right now. But here they come with Maida to Hatate on this right-hand side in the attacking third, holding off Kamada, his countryman, turning it back to O'Reilly with the right foot. O'Reilly surveys the Lazio box, squares it to Taylor, first time to McGregor, rolls it out to Yang, first time to Taylor. Taylor takes a touch, drives it across. There's a scream for handball against one of the Lazio defenders inside the box. Might have been Patrick. The Italians clear. Yang tries to pick it up on the left-hand side. Meeting it's Patrick, who puts it out for a Celtic throw-in. Level with the Lazio penalty spot. 31.5 on the clock at 1-1. They've taken it quickly. It's Taylor, back to McGregor. And then he rolls it back to Scales. Forward to Hatate. Hatate pushes it with the right foot to the left-hand side here for Yang. McGregor at close quarters. Yang to the byline, pulls it back, zips it straight to Kamada, and it's clear by Felipe Anderson. And now it's with Liam Scales, who goes back to Phillips. Phillips in the centre circle. Forward to Kyogo, first time to O'Reilly. Stretching those long legs, even that's not enough though, and it's been won back here by Zaccagni, who passes it back to Husai, and now it's with Romagnoli, who won the first header from that corner that led to the Vicino goal that has brought this game back to level terms. Over on the far side, Lazzari, under pressure from Yang, dinks it down the line, straight to Taylor, he puts it. No offside flag, there it is now though, against Yang, who was coming back from that offside position. I think Hatate was out there as well, and that's going to be a Lazio free kick. Paki Bonner, how are you reading this now? 1-1 on 32.5.
Yeah, I think Celtic just need to get a bit more control, as you rightly said earlier. Just get the passes away again. There was a period in the game that they were passing the ball really, really well. They weren't rushing it, but they were moving the ball with a nice bit of intensity, and every player was comfortable on it. They've just lost their way a little bit in the last, probably I would say maybe 6-7 minutes, and that allowed then Lazio to pick up their game and they then controlled the game, and they got into decent positions higher up the pitch. So Celtic just need to have a bit more control.
I think that Alistair Johnston takes a bad touch, but I think the last one, the ball's fired up to Kyogo. It's a brilliant pass up to him. He lays it off first time. I think he takes Matt O'Reilly by surprise. He can take a touch, then lay it off and get the move, and that's maybe the little bit of composure as Hatate just gives the ball away again.
There's been a lot of that recently. Sari, now Kamada driving forward, looking for Immobile. Maida gets there, brilliant defended by Daisen Maida. It's one of Celtic's players of the season so far, I think. Him and Matt O'Reilly have been exceptional in the opening 6 weeks of the campaign. That goes out for a throw-in on the near side, but it's going to go Lazio's way as Johnston took a quick one. Lazio will take their time, and Husai will take one for them midway inside Celtic territory. On this near side, Husai back to Romagnoli and forward to Luis Alberto. His ball into the centre circle for Patrick. Rolls it to the right for Lazzari. Involved in the Lazio goal here 4 years ago. As he passes it back to Kamada. Into his own half, Patrick, who finds Romagnoli, who has got Husai on this near side. It's actually been pretty dominant from Lazio in the last 10 minutes. It was a handball by Immobile as he tried to control. Celtic trying to take a quick free kick, but the Lithuanian referee wasn't ready. And he gets a bit of verbal from Liam Scales. We know these Celtic players like to keep the game going, keep the game flowing. And he led through Kyogo. Vicino though with the equaliser. And it's at 1-1. Earlier in this group in the Metropolitano it was Atletico 3, Feyenoord 2. Celtic's conquerors in Matchday 1 beaten the Dutch champions.
That's a problem Liam slightly has also, Liam Scales, sorry, when the ball comes in. If Greg Taylor comes on the inside, he has nobody to slide the ball to unless he gives it to Yang, who's a wee bit too high up the pitch. He's got to have a bit more movement to give him that opportunity to give it to his feet.
McGregor into the centre circle for Taylor, out to the left for Yang, against Lazzari. Yang now level with the 18s, level with the penalty spot, level with the 6, pulls it back, low ball, but it's easily away by Vicino in the right angle of his 6-yard box. And Scales does well to win it back off Immobile just inside his own half. McGregor in the circle, now with Johnston under pressure from Zaccagni, and Celtic have it back with Hatate from Scales back to Phillips.
Paki, I think on the point with Scales, Greg Taylor comes in, but I don't think Scales opens his body up well enough to then miss him and fire it wide. His touch is always kind of square where he's looking for that inside pass, whether it be Hatate or Greg Taylor, who the one that's come in. But if he can open his body up, Yang is on. He can play it straight out to him, and then he can go 1v1 against Lazzari.
Celtic have it. McGregor, Lazio of everyone bar Immobile behind the ball. Taylor out wide left to the Lazio box for Yang, level with the penalty spot here as he takes on Lazzari, turns it back to Taylor. Little ball to Kyogo, back to O'Reilly! Saved by Providel. O'Reilly didn't get too much power in the shot with the left foot there. It was not back to him beautifully by Kyogo, and O'Reilly shot comfortably held back by Providel. He would have been very disappointed had he not held that one.
Yeah, it was one of them shots that's close enough to him to be able to get his two hands on the ball, get down low onto his left hand side, but it was good build up from Celtic, good one touch pass and in around that left hand side of the box, and O'Reilly gets a shot away on target, which that's all you can ask for.
He goes for the reverse, doesn't he? He's probably in line or just beyond the near post. He's trying to reverse it into the back post, and if Providel spills it, Maida's in there. He's gambling on a spillage. It doesn't come, but it's still a positive. Really good play, nice one-touch pass again in the right area, in around the Lazio box, that creates that opportunity.
Celtic win it back with McGregor on the far side, forward into the Lazio half for Hatate. Infield it comes to Yang. Yang challenged by Vicino and claim that will be his throw-in, and the referee agrees. The vast majority of Celtic Park doesn't. It's 1-1 on 37.5.
He's unlucky, Yang, because a nice little pass inside. If he just takes a bigger touch, normally you're looking at wingers and saying keep it close to your body so that you can get control of the ball. If he takes a bigger touch there, Vicino's having to bring him down. He's not winning the ball.
Yeah, listen, the Italians do that really well. You know, I've seen and international teams also do it when they play balls to people who are facing almost towards the player who's passed the ball on. They play it first time around the corner, you know, and it's up to a striker who knows it's coming. He gets his body in front of the defender and holds up as a really good tactic. Sometimes you don't always have to take a touch and open up.
Not a seat to be had inside Celtic Park, save for the few rows at either end that have been roped off for security reasons. 1-1, very evenly poised here. 7 minutes of the first half to play, of the 45 at least. Heavy touch there by Vicino, allows Taylor in, now down the left for Yang. Moves it back infield to Hatate, holding off Felipe Anderson, going back to the left for Taylor. And he just manages to get himself away from Felipe Anderson, gives it straight to Vicino, and now it's Luis Alberto. They've got two away to the right. Kamada's one of them. Kamada's on it, pulls it back to the penalty spot when surely he's got to shoot there. Celtic get away with one, and Maurizio Sarri is absolutely furious. Why's Kamada pulled that back with the goal gaping right hand side of the box? Celtic get away with a big one there. Celtic 1, Lazio 1 on 39.
Not only that, why's Kamada getting involved at all? Look, Felipe Anderson's coming in from a better position. He's able to run onto the ball. Kamada's always stretching. It's the reason why he can't. If he gets a shot, he's off target. He's always stretching. He's always, you know, it's always just outside his right foot to get enough on it. And he has to go for the pullback. But Felipe Anderson's the one.
Here's Lazzari down the right. He gets away from a couple of defenders. Crosses in, headed away on the 6-yard line by Johnston. Breaks to Vicino, who goes for the spectacular effort from 25 yards. And it's well over the bar into the Jockstein stand. And it stays one apiece here.
Yeah, I'm loving the quality from both teams too, though. You know, you're talking about Champions League level. This is kind of good quality from most of the players, technically out there, but also tactically.
Scales driving forward and releasing Maida. Brilliant ball by Scales out to the right flank as he switched play. Maida back to Johnston, and he is all the way back to Phillips. Remember, double header tomorrow, Europa League, Aris Limassol Rangers 5:45, Aberdeen against Hapoel Helsinki in that 8 o'clock kickoff in the Conference League as Kyogo comes forward for Celtic. A little dink ball cut out, but Kyogo gets it back, and then Yang, another poor pass from Yang with Kyogo in a good position inside the box, and suddenly Lazio are away in the counter instead. Little ball, Luis Alberto out to this near side. Zaccagni's away from a couple of challenges. Checks his run, rolls it back the way to Luis Alberto. Looks to switch the play out to the right for Felipe Anderson. Immobile, Kamada, Luis Alberto in the middle. In comes the cross, too high for both of them, and it sails behind for the goal kick and stays Celtic 1, Lazio 1 into the final 5 minutes of the 45. Yang is toiling.
Yeah, but we've got to go back to that situation. It was Hatate on the left-hand side who was absolutely free, and he tried to play Kyogo when it wasn't really on, but Hatate was free down his left-hand channel, and if he had to play him, I think he was in for a shot and goal.
Yeah, he's picking up good positions, Yang, but he's now got into the mode of trying to play as safe as he can. he has to play with freedom. His opportunity to go and take people on 1v1, leading up to the chance just before that for Lazio. He's got a chance to go and run, open his legs. He turns back inside, allows the two defenders to get back, and it's comfortable. But watching Lazio, when the ball comes down this left-hand side, and Paki picked up on it, they're looking for that switch of play for Felipe Anderson on the right-hand side. But Kamada's making an unbelievable run just in between Scales and Greg Taylor, and they've not found them yet. That is something they have to watch out for.
And Alberto to Immobile, left-hand side of the box, pulls it back the way. The cross comes in from Sakanye, away by Scales, bounces off Immobile. That favours Nat Phillips, who can rifle it high into the air, and it drops down onto the halfway line. It's a really nice touch by the centre-back, Romagnoli. And he eventually goes back to his goalkeeper, Paki.
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up on that point also. It's given a problem for Greg Taylor, because Kamada's making that run inside, in that inside right channel from a Lazio perspective, inside left from Greg's perspective. So he has to deal with him, and he also has to watch for the diagonal, so he's got to get his positioning right. Otherwise, he needs a midfielder to help him out.
I think Scales is read it, and he's tucked over. But it's a difficult one.
O'Reilly looking for Yang, but Patrick read the danger and wins it back for the visitors. And Romagnoli knocks it forward to Luis Alberto, gets it back from Vicino, and it's the Lazio number 10 who knocks it out to the right for Lazzari, to Felipe Anderson, back the way to Patrick, stepping away from Hatate, out to the touchline. Felipe Anderson, he goes all the way back to his keeper, Pro Vidal, inside his box, right-footed first time up towards halfway. The challenge came from Kamada. Celtic have it back. McGregor, wonderful, flicks it away from Vicino and drives forward. Looked a heavy touch, that put him under pressure, and the pass wasn't as on point as Callum McGregor normally has it.
Yeah, it's a pity, because he done so well initially to turn away and create the space for himself to drive forward, and I think he was just getting caught, and then a little deflection took it away from Kyogo, but they were in a great position.
That's excellent from McGregor, and it's something that he's going to have to do a bit more.
Maida looked offside there. It's a long ball. Maida gets onto it and passes it straight to Pro Vidal, but the flag does go up. I think he was a good foot or so offside.
I think
applause
he knew
comes
it too.
from his manager.
Sorry, Liam, I think he knew it, didn't he?
Easy to say that now, isn't it?
Liam, you knew straight away. He didn't even jump in. But speaking about McGregor, because Celtic have knocked the ball about well, when it's going into midfield, sometimes they're playing little short five-yard passes, 1 and 2 touch, but that time he takes the touch.
Look at the space here.
Exactly.
Peng Luis Alberto out to the right-hand side for Felipe Anderson. He's in the box. His shot blocked by Taylor. And Celtic were caught a little bit over on that far side, not for the first time in this first half. That's going to be a throw-in over on the far side. I have to say, I think half-time's coming at a good time for Celtic. It's just a minute away from the end of the 45.
Yeah, that's exactly another example of it, wasn't it? That Kamada made the run almost in between Scales and Taylor. Taylor's got to come in with him, and then he just hit that diagonal all the way to Anderson, who then has got the ability to go in a 1v1, and I think we did well to block it, actually, because it was a really dangerous situation.
Kamada's picking up a great position just off the bat.
There's a foul by Romagnoli on Kyogo inside the centre circle. No card is forthcoming for the Italy international.
Just hauls him to the ground, doesn't he? I don't even think he has to do it. The ball bounces over him. He just hauls Kyogo to the ground. But speaking about Kamada, he's playing in the opposite side of the midfield. You know, he's not really getting back too much. He's just playing off the back of the midfield, and that's allowing him to get those runs.
There's Yang skipping in field. His pass is poor again, and straight to Lazio. They're able to clear through Patrick, and then Phillips knees it back to Hart. Would have been able to pick that up. He elects to play it first time to Scales. Joe Hart knows you can, just trying to keep the Celtic play flowing there as 1 minute's added on. There'll be an added minute for the goal celebrations.
But listen, it's such a crucial time in the game, you know, leading into half-time, and you know what happened in the game against Feyenoord. You know, you want to come in, okay, you would love to get a goal, but you don't want to come in losing anything just on half-time. And then you can get Brendan doing his business.
Maybe that was in Joe Hart's mind, because I know he knows the rules, but it looked like he wasn't sure, so he didn't take any chances. It paid off because he manages to get the ball out to the right-hand side. But you're absolutely spot on. This is a crucial period for Celtic. They've done well, started well, had bits of control in the game. Lazio have come on strong. They just don't want to concede at this time.
It's Kyogo. They want to score, though, as it's not through to O'Reilly. It's a poor touch in the 18-yard line. About 10 seconds of the stoppage time left. It's cleared by Husai on this near side. One in the air by Phillips, but it breaks Kamada's way. But Immobile has taken a dunt to the back of the head from Phillips. The referee ends the first half, and he's booked Nat Phillips as well for that on Immobile. It seemed a harsh decision by the referee. It would have been a free kick. There was no time for them to take it. Immobile's coming off, rubbing the back of his head. Phillips is remonstrating with the referee, the Lithuanian Rumsash, and it doesn't matter. He's been booked. There's no complaining. He's going to change that decision as the two sets of players head up the tunnel. A keenly contested first half here. Matchday 2 in Champions League Group E. Celtic got the dream start, going in front on 11 minutes to Kyogo Furuhashi. Really good build-up play between Johnston and Maida. Kyogo in the box, saw the whites of Providal's eyes and rolled it under the keeper. A calm, measured finish from Kyogo for his 5th goal of the season and Celtic's first Champions League goal of the season. Frustratingly for them though, just before the half-hour mark, Vicino with a header from a corner. Romagnoli was up first. Vicino nodded towards goal. Joe Hart couldn't keep it out, couldn't prevent it from crossing the line. And that means at half-time here at Celtic Park, it is Celtic 1, Lazio 1.
Celtic in the Champions League.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
Scotland in the Rugby World Cup.
And Scotland do have another try.
Every tackle and every try lives here.
That was a driving, rolling, racing ball to the line.
All the news from rugby's biggest stage.
The BBC Radio Scotland Rugby Podcast.
Listen on BBC Sound.
And Ireland versus Scotland.
Try again for Scotland to seal this win.
A place in the World Cup quarter-finals on the line with a full live commentary of that massive showdown with the Irish.
It's going to take one of the greatest performances in the nation's history to get this done.
Saturday from 7.
Listen on digital radio or ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Scotland Extra.
You're listening to Champions League Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. So 1 apiece at Celtic Park. Kyogo with the opener on 12 minutes. Vicino with the equaliser on 29 minutes. Joe Hart did his best to keep the ball out, but the header did cross the line. There was an early kick-off in Group E this evening. Real Atletico Madrid coming from behind to beat Feyenoord by 3-2. So they topped the group with 4 points from their opening 2 games. Elsewhere in the Champions League, another early kick-off finish. Antwerp 2, Shakhtar Donetsk 3. As I said, Atletico beating Feyenoord by 3-2. Half-time, Red Star 1, Young Boys 0, Dortmund 0, AC Milan 0, Porto 0, Barcelona 1. Barca scoring right on the stroke of half-time there. What an incredible scoreline at St James's Park. Newcastle United 2, PSG 0. They are just approaching half-time there in that one. And Man City have taken the lead 1-0 up away to Leipzig. Aidan McGeady is in the studio with me this evening. A great move, Aidan, to kick off for Celtic with that goal for Kyogo. Perhaps not the best finish. The keeper should have done better, but really good build-up play.
Yeah, fantastic start for Celtic. Exactly what you wanted the team to do. Playing really good football. Fantastic goal. Amazing touch from O'Reilly, and just kind of what we said before the show, or what I said. You're wanting that final end product from O'Reilly, which he's been providing this season. That was just another example of it tonight. Fantastic pass. Like you said, the finish, I mean, you'd be asking questions of the goalkeeper. I'm never massively keen on strikers trying to almost go for the nutmegs, but fortune favours the brave, and it was a fantastic start for Celtic. After that, though, as you see, Lazio are no team in the Champions League are going to be mugs. Lazio are a very good team, as they've shown from their finish in Serie A last season. They've come back into the game. The goal from Vicino, kind of almost, you don't want to say poor marking, but they've almost set up with that kind of bus stop corner routine, and Celtic have just been undone with that. Unlucky from Hart not to keep it out, but obviously the marking was, once the initial header comes in, the marking was few and far between. Celtic, I think, have played well. They've beaten the press at times from Lazio. Lazio are pressing high, but they've also been guilty of giving the ball away in their own third, which has been letting Lazio back into the game. And you've seen that kind of after the first goal. Lazio were building back into the game.
Talk to us about the defensive side of things, because I know you're doing your coaching, you're down at Ayr United, and we've had a lot of debates on this programme about this zonal marking. Where are you in that? What do you like to see defending set pieces?
I like to see man for man. I'm not a manager. I'm not yet anyway. Part zonal, part man for man, or zonal. I would prefer man for man, because I mean it's always the old cliche is that space doesn't score goals, does it? Players do. But you see the kind of problems you can encounter with that when Lazio have a lot of players hanging outside the edge of the box, just waiting. So you effectively don't want your players to be hanging at the edge of the box. They just kind of have to encounter and engage the players as they come in. So it's really difficult to defend that kind of corner routine. And Celtic were just unlucky. I think Celtic were unlucky from that point of view. But in terms of defending, I would always be man for man.
And talk to us about Matt O'Reilly. He's a player that settled in very, very quickly at Celtic. He's a great goal threat. We saw his winner, of course, late on at Celtic Park on Saturday. Key in that build-up for the opening goal tonight. What sort of player is he? What qualities do you see in Matt O'Reilly?
Well, actually, I played against him when he was at MK Dons and I was at Sunderland, and he was kind of almost like a six. Very similar to Callum McGregor in a way, in the role that Callum McGregor's got at Celtic. He's got a lot more attacking intent though, I think, which I didn't see from him. Since he's came to Celtic last season, I suppose the debate was, does he score enough goals for being that kind of creative player when he's not playing as a six? He's certainly addressed that argument this season anyway. I think at times that I was saying I hope he's the one that's playing more advanced, and at times he has been, but he's also been defensively. Defensively, I've seen him back next to Cal McGregor quite a lot tonight. He's been the first goal, the pass is what you want from a number 10, or what you want from one of your attacking players. That first time pass round the corner into his path, there's nothing better. That's what you want from your attacking players, or your midfield players who are playing in a three. He's if he keeps playing the way he is, he's going to be one of the first names of the team sheet.
Yeah, he's a cracking player, Pat Bonner, isn't he? He's had a big impact on this game this evening. What have you made overall part of that first half performance from Celtic?
Yeah, I think from Celtic's perspective, I think there was a period where they were really, really good. They passed the ball, they moved it, they took their time, they didn't rush it, and they were in control of the game. Absolutely, and it led into the goal, and they got the goal. Just after that, then they kind of lost it a little bit. They kind of dropped back, allowed Lazio to get more control, pushed them almost back into a defensive, and then they started taking little chances around the edge of the box that probably led to a little bit of kind of almost nerves, I would say, in the team, and they weren't able to get advance up the pitch apart from a few counter-attacks. And then of course they lose the goal again from a set piece. Obviously Mahed has gone in, and he's trying to do the right thing, but I'm sure now he looks back and he says, I probably shouldn't have slid in there, I should have stood my ground and almost ushered the ball backwards, and then everybody else can come up the pitch slightly with us, but he gives away the corner, and they were just outmuscled for the goal, which is disappointing. Even if you're not the tallest, you've got to block the guy that's making that run, and you don't allow them to get the upper hand on you, but they did, and they paid the penalty. So this game can go either way. I think Celtic have got to come out. Brendan's got to do his bit at half time now and almost get into their heads again about, listen, you've been doing really well controlling the game by keeping the ball, passing it, and not to get sort of panicked when the ball's near you, and make the right choices. But the players off the ball also have got to keep giving the opportunities to the guy on the ball, and I think that's the critical factor. I think when you have a team like Celtic, if everybody's looking for it, and I thought initially at the start everybody was doing that, and then there might be one or two might have just switched off a little bit, and that's what caused the panic and certain players when they had possession, and just has allowed Lazio to grow in confidence.
Just looking, James, at the match stats, it's fairly even. 55% possession for Celtic, 4 shots to Lazio's 6, 2 on target to Lazio's 1. Do you think Brendan Rodgers will be fairly happy with that first half performance?
Yeah, he'll be happy with the start. I don't think he'll be too happy, how they managed to lose control. But yeah, I think that, he spoke about being brave, he spoke about having belief. I think they've shown plenty of that, Celtic. At times maybe overplaying it and defence into midfield and trying to be almost too intricate and too perfect. But they've certainly been, you wouldn't look and say, one team's finished second in Serie A last season, they're miles ahead of Celtic. I think Celtic have more than held their own and at times really controlled the game and looked and probably taken Lazio by surprise with how comfortable they've been in possession of the ball. But he'll be looking for a little bit more going forward. Yang is one that he's been in great positions. He's had great opportunities to maybe come in and play off the side or go 1v1 down the outside. I think he's just trying to force it a little bit. He's trying to, he's understanding that things haven't been going his way, but you have to keep that belief, and you have to make sure you go and take it for a run, buy a foul, get your team up the pitch. Don't come inside and play safe. You're in the team to be a winger, to go and attack and go and run at your defender. And sometimes you get a little bit of luck. Sometimes Aidan will tell you get a foul, you get a throw in, you get your team up the pitch, you take the pressure off, and you grow into the game. He's coming off and trying to play that perfect pass, trying to force it and picking wrong decisions, but he has shown that he's got the stature, he's got the presence and the touch to go and have an impact. Just hasn't been able to have it at the minute, and it'll be interesting to see whether Brendan feels that's a change that needs to be made, because he's picking up good positions. But I think that overall, Celtic have had their moments in the game, Lazio have had their moments. I think that's pretty much what we would expect. There's no way that Celtic are going to go and dominate the game from start to finish, but it's just making the most of those moments that they've had to go and really put Lazio under pressure.
Yeah, Yang has struggled to make any impression in the game, I think it's fair to say, Aidan. Faddy saying there, Louis Palmer, he perhaps will get his opportunity this evening. What advice would you give to Yang? Is it very much a confidence position, do you think, playing in the wing?
I think as a winger at Celtic, you have to have broad shoulders and you have to be able to take criticism, and you have to have that belief in your own ability, though, because I remember there's plenty of nights like that. I'm not saying he's having a really bad game by any means, but this is the Champions League where you have to show that you're at this level. So do the things that you're good at and do the things that have got you in the team. So if that means going on the outside and winning a corner or taking your man on a run down the line, like Faddy says, not coming inside and playing the pass, the simple pass and the easy pass, take the responsibility on your shoulders. That's one thing that I think every Celtic winger has to have. And it doesn't matter if you're tackled 10 times. On the 11th time you beat the fullback and you set up a goal. That's your job done. That's what people remember. It's about having that belief to keep going and keep going and keep going, because it's a very, very difficult place to play as a winger. Celtic Park, with the responsibility on your shoulders that you're one of the main creative players in that team.
Can you feel quite isolated at times in that position?
Listen, it can become a lonely place, definitely. A very lonely place at times when you're not having one of your good games. But I think he'll probably get some advice from the manager. The manager will probably be in his ear and be encouraging him if he's listening. If he's not taken off at half time, which I think happened at the weekend. But as one of those positions where he has to believe in his own ability and believe that he's one of the players that can make a difference at the top end of the pitch.
What improvements have you seen from Celtic tonight, Pat? What do you think Brendan Rodgers has learned from that first game, the opener away at Feyenoord? Have you seen an improvement?
I don't know. Sorry, I missed the first game. James was there. I was abroad, but I watched a little bit of it and so on. And they played probably similar on the ball. A lot of that. But I keep talking about losing goals at vital times. That was a vital time. If they could have got away with that and just got in at half time 1-0 up, even though they weren't in control of the match, then you've got something then to say, well, we'll do this better or do that better, and then we can build on that. But when you lose a goal, then it's sort of almost 50-50 now, and that they've got to start this second half, I think, with a wee bit more belief and do what they were doing at the start, and force Lazio and force the crowd also to almost. The crowd went a bit silent for a period in the second half, because he knew that obviously that we were struggling to get a hold of the ball, and not to take maybe the risk at certain times to force the crowd to get a bit edgy. That's the other thing.
Kenny, I think you look at it, the Celtic have conceded from a corner. So Lazio have looked threatening. They've had great switches of play. There's been a block. There's been a force back. They've not been cut open. It's been, Matchday slides into a challenge, potentially shouldn't. You expect them to go and defend the situation, but they've conceded a goal from a set play. It's not as though they've been battered. They've been dominated, and Celtic have shown they can control the game, they can dominate possession, they can cut Lazio open and score goals. They just have to hang on to that.
Well, let's hope they can go on and win this game this evening. It's a big game for Brendan Rodgers and his team. It's finely balanced. The second half about to get underway. Celtic 1, Lazio 1. Let's get back to Pat Bonner, James McFadden and Liam McLeod.
It was a win for Atletico Madrid earlier at home to Feyenoord in the Metropolitano in this section. First win for the Spanish. Well, one of these two pick up their first victory. The Scotland manager Stevie Clarke is an interested spectator here off to our left in the box at Celtic Park. Callum McGregor is on the pitch. Greg Taylor named in the squad as well as Celtic get the second half underway, shooting right to left in the green and white hoops towards the Jockstein stand, as they do tend to do in the second half of games. Here Lazio in their change colours, the all navy blue with white flashes. One apiece. Throw in Celtic, no changes for either team at the start of the second half, as it comes back to McGregor to Scales, and he shifts it to Phillips. It's Joe Hart in goal for them. Johnston, Phillips, Scales and Taylor, O'Reilly, McGregor, Hatate, Yang and Maida either side of Kyogo, the Celtic goal scorer. Lazio the same as was. Provedel in goal with Lazzari, Patrick, Romagnoli and Husai. Kamada, Vicino, their goal scorer. Luis Alberto with Felipe Anderson, Mattia Zaccagni and Ciro Immobile leading the line. And Lazio have a free kick over on the left-hand side, level with the edge of the centre, circling their own half. Romagnoli goes back to his goalkeeper, who was the goal hero late on against Atletico on match day 1. Long ball into the Celtic half. Lovely touch by Felipe Anderson. Takes Taylor out of the equation. Now he's driving forward away from a couple of challenges. McGregor gets a little touch onto it to force the error from Felipe Anderson, but Kamada picks it up and rolls it to the left hand side for Husai, the Albanian. Forward to Luis Alberto. First time Zaccagni on that far side. It's moved infield. Vicino with a big switch out to Felipe Anderson, right hand side of the box. Poor ball from him though, as he puts it straight to Joe Hart in the 6-yard box. Kamada wanted it on the 18-yard line as Hart clears up to Maida. Lovely take by Daisen Maida. Skips infield. Options open up as well. Hatate's one of them. It's a dreadful ball by Reo Hatate with Yang and Akers of space wide in the left-hand touchline. And it comes back to Provedel. He's able to clear. A real opening for Celtic, that.
Yeah, it was a pity. It was a good take from Maeda from the long kick from Joe Hart. And you don't expect that from Hatate in a great position with nobody around him.
And Lazio coming forward on a counter, but Immobile couldn't find Zaccagni, and it's now with O'Reilly. Side foot ball back to Scales, who'll shift it to Taylor on this near side. Taylor forward to Yang on the touchline, and back to Scales. The left centre back finds Phillips, who goes back to Hart. And can Celtic get some control on proceedings, as they did for a period in that first half, and it was no coincidence when they had that control. They got their goal, but they're giving it away. Kamada's cushion header finds Immobile, right hand side of the box. Kamada, it's an early cross ball, really dangerous, fist across the 6-yard area. It beats everyone, picked up by Zaccagni on the far side. Keeps it in play and finds the Lazio skipper Immobile. Back to Zaccagni.
Yeah, those are little things, giving the ball away in dangerous areas that Celtic didn't want to be doing at the start of the second half. It just gets the crowd nervy, and gives confidence to the opposition, as they know if they pressure, they'll win the ball.
There's a difference between having control and using the ball well. When the ball goes to Matt O'Reilly, before Greg Taylor forces that pass inside, he's got the option just to feed it into the feet of Maida.
Immobile gets it on the far side. I think, yeah, he was offside. Flag's gone up.
Yeah, it's that frustrating rule again, Liam, isn't it? But it's going to be there.
It's here to stay, Patrick. It's here to stay. It's going nowhere as Johnston rolls it back to Phillips. I think there are ways of tweaking it, potentially. The lateness of the flag is a frustration, and we do worry about injuries, but it's very difficult to see another way in which the VAR would be able to operate in an attacking position without letting the attacking move come to its completion.
Yeah, it's very difficult with the speed of the players. You know, in this day and age, it's very difficult. Ones that you look at and say it's an obvious offside, you have to wait for the attacking phase of play to stop.
Yang wins it back down the left-hand side of the byline, pulls it back. Kyogo leaves it, and it's going to be clear by Provedel on his 6-yard line as he dumps it high into the Celtic half. That's better from Yang.
Yeah, slightly better because he closed the player down and he won the ball, but then the final ball could have maybe been just a little bit better, pick somebody out.
Johnston on the right gets it from Phillips, forward to Maida. Maida challenged well though by Romagnoli, and Lazio have it back, shifted to Immobile, picks it up in a very deep position midway inside his own half. It's good work by Immobile, and Lazio come down the right hand side. Lazzari finds Felipe Anderson, movement ahead of him, rolls it low to Immobile. O'Reilly all over him, finds Lazzari at close quarters, out to the right for Felipe Anderson, who goes back to Vicino, who stabs it forward to Kamada, and back to Vicino, to Lazzari, and back to Patrick. 5 minutes of the second half have been played. The scoreline remains 1 apiece. It's in the centre circle with Romagnoli. Little flick there is lovely from Luis Alberto. Now Kamada to Immobile. Felipe Anderson in loads of space, takes a touch onto the left foot and gets it hopelessly wrong.
Oh my God.
And Celtic get away with it as it goes out of play for a goal kick. Greg Taylor was in no man's land there, and Felipe Anderson almost had too much time in his hands. Too much time to think, and it stays 1 apiece.
He's got to hit that with his right foot across the goalkeeper. He almost tries to check in on his left, and I don't know what he was thinking, but it was on to take that ball on his right foot and just drill it across Joe Hart. He had all this time in the world. Celtic got off the hook.
Huge let off for Celtic. He's in acres of space, Felipe Anderson. He waits for the ball to come to him as well. If he steps onto it, takes that touch onto his right, there is no way anyone's getting back to him.
Long ball, Hatate, Maida's in behind the full-back, right-hand side, early ball, looking for Kyogo. It's away by Patrick, and the corner conceded by Lazzari. Really good counter-attacking play from Celtic, and Daisen Maida, the beating heart of it again. Celtic corner.
That's the difference when they play forward speed. We know that Maida's got the beating. He's defender, and it's a great pass in behind. He's really unlucky with the cross because he has to lift it. He just can't get it over the head of Patrick. Kyogo's there, but really good break.
O'Reilly out swinging corner with the left foot, drops towards the penalty spot, cleared though by Luis Alberto. Picked up by Johnston, round about the centre circle, right of it, big switch of plays, beautiful out to O'Reilly, just bounced away from him. Felipe Anderson wins it back. The Celtic supporters win a free kick, it's not forthcoming, but Taylor wins it back, but then drags it over the line, frustratingly for him and for the fans, and out for a Lazio throw-in on this near side. Stays 1-1 here in Glasgow's East End.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers speaking to the fourth official and pointing. He's small, Brendan, but he's putting a hand above his own head. That's how high up the boot was.
Bit 5
Should have
foot.
been a free kick.
Bit 5 foot.
Bit 5 foot, yeah.
Lazio clear through Patrick. Awkward one for Phillips, but he does well, finds O'Reilly. There's an awkward bouncing ball towards him. Johnston forward to Daisen Maida, taking on Husai on the far side. And he drags the ball out for a throw-in to the visitors, a bit level with the edge of the D of their own box over on the north stand side. And it will remain Celtic 1, Lazio 1 here. The throw-in is taken forward. O'Reilly gets his head onto it. Johnston jumps there with Zaccagni, breaks Celtic's way. Here is McGregor out to O'Reilly, cut out by Zaccagni and out for a throw-in to Celtic over on that far side.
Liam, see the touch that Maida takes. He's coming towards the ball. He clips it round the corner to chase it, and he gives away a throw-in. But he's got it in his mind already. He's going to run forward. He's going to be positive. And okay, they lose possession, but they can squeeze the pitch. This is what we're speaking about with Yang. Be positive, go forward. You will get luck, because that's what happens when you're positive and you're trying to take a defender on and putting him on the back foot. More often than not, you will get the breaks.
And it gives the fullback something to think about,
of course.
It? Yeah. It's Phillips on the halfway line. Side football out to Johnston, forward to O'Reilly. Lovely little touch. Takes it out to the far side touchline. The pass wasn't great, but it does break Kyogo's way. As Felipe Anderson puts it behind for the corner from the edge of his own box. He'll be relatively content with that, will the Brazilian, because Kyogo was potentially going to be in for a strike at goal from just outside the D. He has to settle for the corner.
Yeah, he took his eye off of Kyogo, and if he got control of that, he was in a brilliant position, about 23, 24 yards out. Nobody in front of him.
Can Matt O'Reilly come up with here? In swinger with the left foot from the far side. Drifts it deep towards Phillips, gets the head towards goal, bounces in the 6-yard area, it's cleared. A Lazio head gets onto it. They've got a man down in the 6-yard box as well, and the referee decides to stop play, with Nat Phillips picking the ball up wide on this left-hand side when Celtic were in an attacking position.
Yeah, he's always going to give a free kick when somebody's down, or stops play anyway. It's not a free kick, it's a head knock, so yeah, the crowd can react whatever way they want, but he's done the right thing. He's up on his feet, and in fact, so there wasn't much of it. But the referee doesn't know that.
No, when it looks like a head knock, of course the referee has to stop it. But we know that these are the things that happen in these type of games. But the one with Felipe Anderson, he'll be pleased to see it go high and wide, but it shows you the panic that they have, because he's an attacking player. You'd think he'd be comfortable taking the ball, maybe turning, but he knows that if he takes a touch, there's going to be pressure on him. He's going to be forced into, having to take that ball under huge pressure, and he just slashes it out of the park.
It's a big night of European football, big week of European football here in Sports Sound and BBC Radio Scotland, with Aris Limassol against Rangers to come in the Europa League tomorrow, 5:45 kickoff. Rijeka Helsinki up against Aberdeen, 8 o'clock start in the Conference League. Celtic give it away here in the Champions League through Johnston. Luis Alberto across halfway, out to the left hand side for Zaccagni, rolls it back infield to the number 10, Luis Alberto. And now the Lazio goal scorer Vicino takes over. He finds Kamada right of the centre circle, and he sweeps it out to this near side for Felipe Anderson. Side football back to Patrick, who's on it, works a 1-2 with Vicino and goes back to his goalkeeper. Over 10 minutes into the second half. Chip ball forward, Taylor's underneath it here for Celtic, and it's a easy enough header back to Joe Hart, who clutches onto it at the edge of his box before rolling it to Scales.
Yeah, just seen Stephen Kenny, the Irish manager, in the stand there too, so he might be taking a look at Liam Scales, which would be a big step up for him also. He's been in the squad a few times, but hasn't really featured.
Yeah, he's not got his first cap yet, has he? He'll be hoping that'll be coming soon. He's played Champions League football, why wouldn't he be capped by the Irish soon?
And he's been exceptional since coming into the team. He really has. People looking at it, in the first couple of games of the season, saying, Liam Scales can't be in the team come the first Champions League fixture. Not only was in the team, he was outstanding, and he's barely put a foot wrong tonight again.
O'Reilly, good switch of play out to Yang on this near side. Level with 18, he's going to take on Lazzari, skips infields away from a couple of challenges at the edge of the box, away from another one. That's going to be a free kick. Kamada brings him down left of the D at the edge of the Lazio box, and it's in a lovely distance from goal as well. They've taken a quick one to Taylor, who shoots straight at Providal, but the referee wasn't ready. And on this occasion, I think the Celtic supporters will be happy for it to be brought back.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think that obviously Greg Taylor's just trying to get away from him, but that's much better from Yang. As soon as he gets the ball, he runs directly at Lazzari, which makes him go back the way. Then he's got the option, he can go left or right, he cuts inside, he has to beat another player. It looks like he wants to get his shot away, and Kamada has no option but to take him out, because he does take a good touch inside. It does open up for him. That is much better, and that's what you get when you're positive. Go and drive at the defender, make him make the decision, and he's shown he can go either way. Much better.
Big moment coming in here as the Celtic supporters try to add that little bit extra to the players ahead of this attacking free kick opportunity. Reo Hatate and Matt O'Reilly stand over it.
Yeah, I think it's a big goalkeeper in the goal. He's got to get his position right. They've put somebody lying on the ground for that low drill one. Can't see that happening. It's got to be up around and over the wall. And now it's about quality now. Get it on target. Try and miss out the wall. Make the goalkeeper make a decision.
Celtic Park waits in anticipation. O'Reilly, left-footed, flicks it back to Hatate, who hits it with the right. Keeper saves low to the left. Back to Maida, to Johnston, who fires it high over the bar. Well worked by Celtic. It just didn't quite have the purchase to beat Providal, who still had to make the save. Down low to his left, and it stays Celtic 1, Lazio 1 on 58.
What a save. What a save. That was low down to his left-hand side with people in front of him. He makes it, and not alone does he make the save, but he pushes away beyond the post, so Maeda couldn't get on it. Really good free kick from Celtic though. Well worked. Created the space to get the shot away.
That's brilliant as well. Which makes the save even more impressive is you had Kyogo and Yang just in his eye line, Providal's eye line. So when that ball shifted inside, he can't see where the ball goes. He stands up well, and as you say, it's a brilliant save. Maida's coming in again, as you would expect, but really well worked. It looked like Hatate was going to just step up and hit it, try and go over the wall. O'Reilly with a nice little roll into his path, and I think that's a very good effort, very well worked from Celtic, and really unlucky.
Stays 1-1 at Celtic Park. Lazio in possession over on the left. Sakanye moving it back towards the edge of the centre circle to Vicino. Now it's with Patrick to Kamada. Back to Romagnoli. Kyogo comes to meet him. Shifted out to Husai on the far side. Long ball with the left foot. Easy for Phillips. Nods it out that far side. He couldn't find Johnston though. It's out for a Lazio throw-in.
Yeah, they were looking for offside, I think, there, Celtic, but Matt Phillips, the centre half, just head the ball back down the pitch. You know, he tried to be clever a little bit to knock it into space for Greg Taylor. He's knocked it out for a throw-in and puts a little bit of pressure on them because it's not too far level almost nearly with the box.
Lazio have it again. It's a chip ball forward by Zakanya, looking for Kamada in the box, cut out by Scales. Now it's picked up on this near side by Felipe Anderson, shrugging off Yang, moving it to Vicino. Back to Patrick, and now Felipe Anderson again. Skips away from Yang, facing Callum McGregor. Shifts in field, dropping the shoulder. Low ball to the 18-yard line. Down, just on the edge of the penalty area, goes Luis Alberto, and the yellow card's going to come out for simulation here. He's wanting at least a free kick on the edge of the box, if not a penalty, but he himself's going to be booked.
It's almost his reaction after the free kick.
Possibly descent,
for descent, banging it into the ground with both hands. But it was good defending from Alistair Johnston. Just tracked the runner, stayed body tight with him, and didn't allow him to get a shot away, because it was a decent build-up. Again, that man Anderson involved.
Just beyond the hour mark at Celtic Park, and obviously the VAR is going through an official check as to whether this was the correct decision. I think there's going to be changes as well. Celtic are going to bring on Luis Palma, and they're also going to bring on Paki Bonner, Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Yeah, that's a surprise for me.
Yang off for Palma.
I just wonder who Carter-Vickers is going to replace here, whether it'll be Liam Scales or Matt Phillips. Matt Phillips.
A like-for-like change. Brendan Rodgers was teasing the Celtic supporters last night at the media conference that Carter-Vickers might start this game, but he's given a rousing reception from the Celtic supporters in his return to the team. Yes. He's been out since the victory at Aberdeen in August, having missed, of course, the Scottish Cup final last season, the tail end of last campaign, and he's got an early feel of the ball from Joe Hart, and that is a big boost for Brendan Rodgers, getting him back, not just tonight, but in the weeks and months to come.
It's a big boost, but it's also a big decision. You know, at this stage of the game, one each. You know, will he be sharp? Will he be able to make the good decisions in a critical position?
Is this just about? I mean, Nat Phillips is no, youngster really. Is this just a case of getting Carter-Vickers' experience of Celtic Park and these European matches in a Celtic shirt for the last half hour?
No, I don't think so. I think it's, Nat Phillips comes on as a sub at the weekend. Before that, he hasn't played a lot of football, so maybe it's just he feels that the change needs to be made to freshen it up. Carter-Vickers, if he's on the pitch, he's clearly fit. We know that he will be up to speed in terms of his general fitness. The match sharpness, could potentially be an issue. But I think it's more to do with the fact that maybe Nat Phillips hasn't played a lot of football. Maybe the idea was that they would get the hour or so out of him. And I mean, there's nobody better a Celtic to bring on into that position than Cameron Carter-Vickers. You hear the fans, how much they love him.
Yeah, I always wonder also, when you're on loan, does the club that you've come from have a say in these things in any way when you're injured? That they don't want him, would they have that discussion?
I would hope not.
No.
I think if you get into a Champions League game and you're listening to the parent club say he can play 60 minutes if he's been out for a certain amount of time. No, I think it's just, Nat Phillips hasn't played a lot of football.
Okay, well, Celtic in possession with McGregor, forward to Palma, first feel of the ball, and he's driving forward, facing the Lazio goal, down the left, then decides to come back the way. Felipe Anderson was behind him, but there was still plenty of pitch to eat up as Taylor takes over. Now O'Reilly looks up at the Lazio box, at the left angle of the box, out wide left to the overlapping Palma, level with the 6-yard line. His ball back the way, he's cut out by Kamada. And Lazio able to clear their lines. Carter-Vickers has it now, and he just dinks it all the way back to Joe Hart, who's come just outside his box, approaching 64 minutes.
Palma has to keep running there, Liam. Sorry, he has to keep running. I know that he feels Felipe Anderson get back, just run inside, run across him. He turns back, and okay, they keep possession, but Aidan speaking at half-time, a winger here at Celtic, they want to see them go and run and commit people and create. Look, I know he's just on, and then when the ball comes back, clip the ball into an area. He's trying to thread the eye of a needle, and he gets it wrong.
Hatate for Celtic on the near side. He's been a bit scrappy as Patrick brings Hatate crashing to the ground down in front of Brendan Rodgers' technical area. That'll be a Celtic free kick down here. There's 1-1 as Palma picks up on the left of the Lazio box, level with 18, back to Hatate. 180-degree turn, back to McGregor, back to Hatate. Finds Palma to Hatate again. Hatate gets the break of the ball, the edge of the area. Rolls it to the right-hand side of the box. Maida takes a touch onto the left foot. His shot's blocked. Lazio clear. Again, there's an optimistic shout for a handball against a Lazio defender as it came bouncing back off Sikanyi, who's ended up lying on the turf inside his own penalty area, and it remains Celtic 1, Lazio 1 on 65.
Yeah, I think it's just again a clash, not a clash of heads this time, but the ball smacked against his head and he's gone down, so the referee probably has no alternative but to stop the game again from that perspective.
A couple of Lazio changes coming in just a moment as Maurizio Sarri looks to his bench for the first time. He's going to bring on the Danish forward Gustav Isaacson and the French midfielder Guendouzi, who's on loan from Marseille. And the ball's been given straight back to Lazio, which is why you're hearing the howls of derision from the Celtic supporters, and why Brendan Rodgers is having a go at the fourth official, shaking his head, chuntering away to himself.
No wonder Celtic had the ball. It was in the right back area, but they had the ball.
It is Lazio in possession over on that left-hand side with Husaita, Romagnoli, to Vicino, and then back to Patrick. Heading towards the final quarter of this one. Will there be a winner? As it stands a point apiece, and Atletico have got their first win, Feyenoord got their first win in Matchday 1. Might not really do either team any favours if they want to get through to the last 16 of this tournament. Here's Callum McGregor to Palma on the near side, claims he was body checked. The referee wags his finger and says no, get on with it to Palma. And Lazio have it with Vicino. Goes back to Patrick, who finds Luis Alberto and goes back to the Spaniard. Up towards halfway for Felipe Anderson. Poor touch. Palma to McGregor. O'Reilly goes down. This time the referee says it is a free kick to Celtic. Vicino the offender. Celtic free kick. Lazio changes. Felipe Anderson's going to be replaced as he comes off. Former West Ham player. And he will be replaced by Isaacson. And in fact, Guendouzi is going to replace the number 10, Luis Alberto, who looked quite effective in the first half. He's fallen out of things in the second. So there's a double change by Sarri, and Guendouzi, who does have a handful of caps for the French national team.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah.
He dictates the game. He gets on the ball. He wants to make it happen, Guendouzi. And I'm surprised actually Anderson was taken off. I think he was probably one of their best players. Glad to see him going off. But again, somebody fresh legs coming on.
Yeah, even Luis Alberto, he hasn't really been in the game so much in the second half, but he's got the vision, he's got the range of passing, and you can see him coming off there and having a word with Sarri. He's clearly unhappy about coming off, and he feels he can make a difference. Guendouzi, he's all energy, all action. He gets forward, he'll get back and fly into challenges. Certainly a different type of player. Kamada's moved over to that left side now in midfield, and Isaacson's on the right instead of Felipe Anderson. Greg Taylor will be delighted to see the back of him. Yeah, not because he's had a tough night, but just because he's such a willing runner.
Lazio in possession in the midfield with Vicino. Stabs at the outside of the right boot, and now they're driving forward and they've got numbers ahead. It's Kamada at the edge of the box, takes a touch, shoots, and Joe Hart holds on. Down low to his right, Daichi Kamada with a wonderful run up to the edge of the Celtic box, and he hit the shot which Hart held on to pretty well down at his right hand post, and it stays Celtic 1, Lazio 1 on 68.5.
Yeah, it's a good save, you know, because Celtic were exposed. They were caught out a little bit over to one side of the pitch to midfield, and it allowed Kamada to get himself forward, and he used it really well. The space checked onto his right foot and had a decent shot at Joe Hart, who made a decent save.
Here's Taylor for Celtic, left of the centre circle, forward looking for Hatate, can't get onto it. We've barely seen Kyogo Furuhashi in the second half. He's just not been involved in the game at all. He's barely been involved in the game, really. He scored the goal, obviously, which was the most important thing of all, but he's not getting much of a feel of it as Taylor picks up, rolls it in field, finds Hatate, and then his ball into the box goes behind for the goal kick. Misunderstanding with either Taylor or Maida, and it's a Lazio goal kick. Celtic are going to make another change. Looks as though Paolo Bernardo is going to be on shortly. Lazio are going to make at least one more change in the next minute or so.
Yeah, you know, going back to Kyogo, the point you made about Kyogo, I don't want him to be too involved in the pitch, out the middle of the pitch. Celtic wait for that moment and strike, and that's what all good centre forwards do when they're not being involved in the game.
Celtic are going to make the change first, seemingly. Stevie Woods, the goalkeeper, coaches the board. He's trying to give it to the fourth official. Celtic make their next change. Brendan Rodgers will be desperate for a first Champions League win here at Celtic Park as Maida picks up on the far side. It bounced off his heel, but he's got it back, then runs into trouble, and the shape of Zaccagni brings him down, and that's a Lazio free kick over on the far side. So it's a bit of a waste from a Celtic point of view. They were in an attacking position. Lazio are going to bring on another striker here. It's an Argentinian, and Tati Castellanos, who was brought to the club from New York City in the summer. And it's Lazzari here for Lazio coming forward. His pass forwards cut out by McGregor, and out it goes for a throw-in, and now the changes will be made, and Castellanos is going to come on for Ciro Immobile, who, talking about Kyogo not getting much of a feel of the ball, we've barely mentioned Immobile in the second half. He had that opportunity in the first, which forced the save from Joe Hart. That was an offside flag, went up just after, but they've managed to keep Ciro Immobile relatively quiet this evening. Almost 200 goals and just over 300 appearances for the Rome club, and he's replaced by Castellanos. And Paki, it's Bernardo replacing Hatate.
Yeah, you know, it could have been maybe, you know, obviously he plays in that position, so he's not one that plays fairly deep in the midfield, so he'll play almost as an out-and-out number 10, and it's the obvious choice, I think, with O'Reilly maybe just dropping back a little bit alongside Callum McGregor in this closing period.
It's an interesting one for me. David Turnbull played a big part this season, not coming on. Paolo Bernardo, I think there was talk of him getting up to speed. Certainly if you're throwing him into this environment, he must be up to speed now.
Well, he's just giving it away though, the referee.
It's a free kick for Celtic.
It's going to be a free kick. It was O'Reilly who's gone down, and that's going to be a free kick right to centre here, just beyond the midway point of the Lazio half. So this is a chance for Celtic to get the ball into the middle, but Kyogo Furahashi's gone down over there. He looks hurt. He's trying to get back to his feet just now.
Yeah, it was him that was caught, Liam, and that's why the referee did well, actually spotted, and they've got a decent free kick in a decent area wide on the right hand side.
18 to play, and it's a huge 18 minutes in stoppage time in the story of Group E in the Champions League this season. I mean, there's no easy games in the Champions League, but on paper, this is Celtic's most winnable game in the group, at home to the third seeds. As O'Reilly takes the free kick, into the box it comes, Carter Vickers left a little bit too early, Bernardo hits it with the right, and it was behind for the goal kick, as he boots it with the right foot past the left-hand post, and it stays Celtic 1, Lazio 1 here in Glasgow.
It's a tough opportunity for him. No, Carter Vickers goes up and puts a challenge on. When it bounces to Bernardo, he's running, and he has to wait for it to come onto his right foot, and he can't open his body up. I don't think he can take a touch. I think there's going to be pressure. He just can't get the direction.
Lazio were cup winners in 1999. They went on to beat Manchester United to win the Super Cup after Manchester United's win over Bayern Munich late on in the Camp Nou against Bayern Munich. 3 months before, Lazio were beating Mallorca at Villa Park to lift the last ever Cup Winners' Cup. They would then win the title the year after all of this under Sven-Göran Eriksson. It's such a wonderful time in charge of Lazio at the turn of the century. As Lazzari picks up on this near side. Guendouzi down the right for Lazzari in space. He's actually ahead of him. Lazzari taking it all the way himself down the right flank level with the penalty spots. A chipped ball in. Carter Vickers heads clear. He's taken a blow to the face, and the yellow card comes up for a high boot there. I think Castellanos is just on, and he's caught Carter Vickers, and just before that I think O'Reilly took a blow as well. It was clever play by Lazio, really good positive wing-back play by Manuel Lazzari down this right-hand side. It was a little delicate chip ball into the area, and that caused a couple of issues. 16 to play, 1-1.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Lazzari running off Palma. Greg Taylor has to go inside with Isaacson, but then he makes a decision to go and put enough pressure on Lazzari, and when the ball comes into the box, Castellanos, he only has eyes for the ball. He's going for the overhead kick, but Cameron Carter-Vickers knows he's got a chance of hurting himself there. He goes in with a head, brave header. It's a brilliant header as well, because he gets the ball clear. That shows you what Celtic have been missing, because he just takes control of the situation, gets his head on it. He's going to get kicked in the face. He doesn't care as long as that ball gets cleared. It's brilliant.
Well, that's what you want from your centre half. And Carter-Vickers is okay. A little bit of treatment. You'll probably be feeling that in the morning, though. We're ticking on to our 75 minutes now, just about to move on to that mark. 15 to go of the 90. Joe Hart with the right foot from the free kick. Header from Lazzari. Back into the Celtic half. Comes off the head of Scales, who was being fouled by Castellanos, who was just yellow carded a moment ago, and immediately fouls another Celtic player, this time Scales. Quick free kick to Johnston, right of the circle. Now back to Scales, to Taylor. Taylor clips it forward with the left foot. Bernardo gives chase, poor touch, and that's allowed Lazio to win it back through Patrick, who's got the captain's armband after Immobile went off. It's pushed back to Taylor, and he goes all the way back to Joe Hart. Short ball, Hart to Carter-Vickers. How much do you go for the win at this point?
I think, well, Celtic haven't changed in their approach. I don't think they're going to all of a sudden, throw extra bodies forward. But it must be in the players thinking. They will be looking up at the clock, thinking if we can get a win, knowing what the result was with Atletico Madrid and Feyenoord, knowing how well they played in Rotterdam as well, that, yeah, I think they will, but it's maybe just taking more risk in the past. We speak about this risk and reward when they're getting into great areas where it's wide in the left, particularly wide in the left. And we talk about Yang when he was on in Palma. They have to go and be positive and go for it and try and commit players, and then that allows your Matt O'Reilly, who's come up with so many good goals this season, that allows him to go and make those runs off of the midfield. But they can't be going and throwing bodies forward just for the sake of it.
Palma gets the break of the ball. He's inside the box.
What a tackle!
What a tackle that was from Romagnoli, who's come from nowhere just as Palma was pulling the trigger. And Celtic have to settle for the corner.
What an Italian. Is he Italian? I'm just checking to see his
Did you need to see his name to see that it was Italian backing with that challenge?
Oh, absolutely. But that is probably the challenge. Nice. Apart from Liam Scales' challenge earlier on, but this is more crucial because of where it was.
It's Maldini, it's Costa Curta, it's Baresi, Chiellini, Bonucci as the corner comes in. Headed away by Patrick. Out to O'Reilly again. Second chance, level with the edge of the D of the Lazio box, finds Taylor, back to McGregor, back to Taylor, wide in the left, takes a touch, crosses in with the left foot, looking for Scales, just in behind him. Scales with the overhead attempt, goes well over the crossbar.
Where's he from? Is he from Brazil?
It shows you where Liam Scales is in his head, because he wins that header, he's stretching for it, the ball goes straight up in the air. You're expecting him to just flick it back into the area. No, Liam Scales is going for the overhead kick, bicycle kick. He gets it horribly wrong, but it shows you the confidence that he's playing with, that he's willing to try it.
Boy from Barndarig, is that how you say it, Packy?
Yeah.
South of Dublin, and it was a speculative effort.
What did you call it?
Liam Scales.
Where did you see him from?
Barndarig. Is that how you say it?
Never heard that one. I'll need to check to
Call
see.
yourself an Irishman.
Barndarig.
He speaks the.
Bandorn, you mean?
Speaks the. That's your county.
That's my part of the world.
Paddy's been there.
Great little place.
Here's Luis Palma on this near side. Moves in field. He's looking for the big switch out towards Maida. Kills it on the chest. Right angle of the Lazio box. He's being forced back the way. Square ball to McGregor. Left footed into the area. And it comes. And a little flick. There's really clever by Kyogo. But it's been picked up at his near post by Providel. And it stays Celtic 1, Lazio 1. 11.5 to play. There's just signs right now that Celtic are cranking this up a bit.
Yeah, and they have to take advantage of it. I'll tell you what, that's an incredible effort from Kyogo. As Cal McGregor's just in the inside right, he's curling a ball towards the back post, which is always behind and over Kyogo's shoulder, and he goes with his right foot he lets it come right across his body. He gets back to goal, and he goes with his right foot overhead kick into the near post. Providal's there to save it, but it's an incredible effort.
Yeah, I just hope there's not a sting in the tail here. You know, you're obviously up against a really good, you know, experienced team also. You know, they know how to handle this pressure, and you just don't want Celtic to lose anything, because they don't deserve to lose this game.
Yeah, but it looks like Lazio are not desperately defending, but they know that this is coming, and they're going to have to deal with it. You know, they haven't started the season well, and it's not any way that you go into the game and underestimate them. But losing can become a habit, and losing goals can become a habit. You know, you heard the journalist before speaking about the fact they kept so many clean sheets, 21 last season. They've had one this season. I know they've conceded, but that getting over the line, even the point, is still going to be a huge ask for them. The Celtic need to crank the pressure up here.
Carter Vickers out to Maida. We're about to go into the final 10 of the 90. 1-1. Double change coming up again for Lazio. Celtic in possession with Taylor. Out to Palma on this near side. Palma up against Isaacson, driving forward, finds Bernardo at the left angle of the box. He's been brought down. Palma, the referee allowing an advantage for Celtic. Switch out to Johnston, cross ball into the box, breaks to Palma on the right foot, goal! Luis Palma sends a bolt of electricity through Celtic Park. The wonderful goal, killed in the box, beat the first defender and smashes it low into the bottom left corner, and this place is liftoff, and Celtic might have Champions League liftoff as well. What a moment for Palma, what a moment for Celtic, and it is Celtic 2, Lazio 1.
Well, what a good goal. Good build-up play. I thought actually Palma was going to bend that around the goalkeeper the other side. He's gone for the near post, and I think he's fooled the goalkeeper also, and has squeezed it, and there's a goal check. VAR's checking it.
Well, the consensus here is that this could well be offside. They're checking it just now. It's a yellow card for Palma because he whipped the top off in celebration. But are the Celtic celebrations about to be stymied here? Haven't seen a replay yet, but the consensus in the press box around me is that this goal's going to be chalked off. We're going to find out any moment now. Well, it's a fabulous finish from Palma, who scored at Fir Park at the weekend. As this goal review goes on.
It looks on. It's whether Maida gets a touch on the ball. As the ball comes across, Maida goes for the overhead kick. If he gets a touch, Palma's off. If he doesn't, he's onside and the goal should stand. They just try to determine whether it's a touch from Maida. It looked to me as if he missed it, I have to say. And then when he gets into that area, I know we're going through the check, when he gets into that area, it's a brilliant finish.
Well, the people who were saying that this goal's going to get ruled off are now shaking their hands.
But they're all Italian. They're all Italian.
It hinges on whether Maida gets a touch on the ball with him. As the initial cross comes in, he's onside. When Maida goes to go for the overhead kick.
Oh, hold on. He's going to look at it.
Off.
Yeah, it's off. Offside. It doesn't stand.
Wow.
And the Lazio supporters celebrate this time. The scoreline will stay. Celtic 1, Lazio 1. Maida must have got the slightest of touches onto it, and it stays one apiece.
Yeah, well, listen, Lazio's making a couple of substitutions. There are further substitutions, but Celtic are in an ascendancy at the moment. They're the crowds behind them. They're playing well. That stoppage might have killed off the momentum a little bit, but certainly with 7 minutes plus injury time left, there's still going to be big chances in this game.
Zakanyi coming off, and he's been replaced by the Montenegrin Adam Marušić. And a familiar face will be Lazio's final change. Zakanyi replaced by Pedro, who is a multiple Champions League winner from his time at Barcelona. Of course, had a lengthy spell at Chelsea as well. He was at Roma before he was plucked by their city rivals, and he's on now for the closing stages. We had a good few minutes added on at the end because of that, after Palma thought he'd given Celtic a priceless lead, and a few minutes later his dream moment was ripped away from him. And it's 1-1 and still so evenly poised going into the final now, 6 minutes.
Yeah, they've got a chance to see it again, and as the ball's flashed across, Maida goes for a extremely ambitious overhead kick and just gets the slightest of touches, which puts it towards Palma, and it was a brilliant finish, you have to say. When it looks like he's going to step on it and hit it first time, he takes a nice little touch inside, and as Packy says, then you're expecting him to go far side, just squeeze it into the near post, and it is a huge blow, but Celtic have been building that pressure, and they have to keep that belief that they'll get another opportunity.
Throw in Celtic on this near side. It's a bit level with the edge of the centre circle in the Lazio half. Taylor takes it, finds Palma, back to Taylor. It's a pretty aimless pass by Greg Taylor down the right hand side, which will go behind for a goal kick to Lazio. It's a hammer blow for Celtic, that, because of everything, everything that went on there when Palma was away to celebrate. His teammates, Brendan Rodgers, was leaping down the touchline. It was getting very exciting up here in the commentary position as well, and then all of a sudden the realisation that the goal isn't going to stand, and mentally that's going to be tough for Celtic to try and shrug off in these closing stages, and it may well have given Lazio a boost as well as they look to try and win this game.
Yeah, well, it's important that they don't let it affect them defensively, because that looked like they managed to get themselves in front so close to actually winning the game. At the very least, they come away with this game from this game with a point. They don't go and concede a goal now, because that will make it 10 times worse, but they still have a chance to go win the game. There's still plenty of time left. They've still shown that they can be a threat.
Celtic change for Kyogo, the man who gave Celtic the lead on 11 minutes with that fabulous goal. Really good build-up play between Johnston and Maida. Kyogo applied the finishing touch, and he's replaced for the closing stages by Oh Hyun Gyu.
Well, he's always coming on this pitch now. What he needs to make is himself a real nuisance in the box. If anything's able to be fired in there, he's got to be on the end of it.
Carter Vickers to Johnston, the edge of the centre circle. Goes long with the right foot out to this near side, but it goes over the head of Palma and out for a throw into Lazio on this near side. Remember earlier it was Atletico 3, Feyenoord 2 in the other game on Matchday 2 in Group E. Tomorrow, Rangers and Aberdeen in Europa and Conference League action respectively. Full coverage on Sportsound tomorrow evening. From Cyprus and Pataudry, Lazio give it away, out for a throw in on the far side to Celtic. Level with the edge of the D of the Lazio box. Ball back by Johnston to Carter Vickers, who rolls it into the centre circle for Liam Scales. Celtic have a magic moment in them. They did last time Lazio were here, and Christopher Julian scored the winning goal.
He did it the weekend as well, and they had less time to find it.
Yep.
So I think Brendan spoke about the character of the players. The players are obviously, they're the ones that are showing that character. They'll still believe, they'll still probe and still create opportunities.
I think it was still 0-0 at this point at Fir Park on Saturday, just about.
Yep.
Celtic winning the game 2-1 as Taylor goes in, wins it back off Guendouzi. Now it's with O'Reilly, tried to find but it's cut out by Patrick, who clears. And then the flag goes up on this near side against Castellanos, and Celtic have a free kick on the halfway line, which McGregor takes. Now Taylor then back to Carter Vickers. 87.5 on the clock, plus a substantial amount which will be bolted on to the end of it, particularly for that VAR. There's been injuries as well as the subs, as Carter Vickers picks up on that right hand side of the defence, chips it forward to Maida, controls it on the chest. Who's side behind him? He finds McGregor, he finds Johnston now with Carter Vickers. Celtic don't win this, they're going to be under serious pressure. Double header against Atletico Madrid to come in the meat of this group. As picks up left of the centre circle, it's Kamada with the challenge. Goes out for a Celtic throw-in though on this near side.
Yeah, just saying, he's done really well. He's showed really well for the ball, but then you just want to lay it off and turn and get away. He tries an extra pass and nearly gets caught on the ball.
Hart, the edge of his own box, short to Scales. Scales then pushes it forward to McGregor, who squares it to Johnston. Under pressure from Pedro. Back to Carter Vickers, now with Scales. Celtic trying to feel their way through. Scales to Taylor. Taylor into the Lazio half for Palma. Palma up against Marušić on this near side. Short ball back to McGregor and into the centre circle for Carter Vickers. We're now into minute 90. And it's Celtic in possession. One of the police officers down there just asking the fourth official how much time's being added on at the end of this as Scales gives it away. Bernardo battling for it, but Isaacson comes away with it. McGregor with a challenge, breaks Taylor's way on this near side. Taylor infield to Bernardo. Shout was man on with Isaacson behind him. Finds McGregor, now Scales. Square to Carter Vickers. To Scales. Not many leaving early from this one, I can tell you that much. Scales finds Taylor. It's back with Scales. Infield to McGregor. Out to Taylor. Taylor across halfway for Paolo Bernardo. Steps away brilliantly from Vicino, the Lazio goal scorer. Maida's in space over on the right. Bernardo plays it to he gives it away though. But he's been caught. That's a free kick to Celtic, just beyond the midway point of Lazio territory and slightly right of centre. That's a result given what happened with O's pass. 6 minutes added, and we're into the first of the 6 minutes.
Yeah, as a result, when the ball comes into O, you're then looking for him to hold it up, but I can get it. He's trying to flick that wide to Maida to get him one-on-one early. He just gets it wrong. Perhaps he gets it wrong because he's clattered off the defender as well. But Celtic having so much possession, Lazio terrified to come out. They're just sitting deep, going in ones and twos to try and win it back.
Short free kick. Out to the right from McGregor to Johnston. Back to Callum McGregor. Chip ball in's clever. It's flicked half away. Palma gives chase, but that'll be a foul, and that's a serious waste there. Inside the box, just bringing his man down. It was Marusic, who will be absolutely elated with the fact that the challenge came, because Palma was about to pick up left-hand side of the box, and Celtic surrender an attacking moment.
Yeah, experience, just any little touch down and gets his free kick and takes the pressure off them, because they'll be desperate to get out of here also. What a 1-1 is a really good result for them.
Yeah. Especially given they didn't lose on match day one. It keeps them right in it.
It does, it keeps the group really tight. But, you know, there, he doesn't have to make the foul. You're right, it's experience from Marusic. But he has to just let that ball roll out and let him deal with it. He can't do anything, he just runs into the back of him. He must see Palma is there to go and pick it up.
It is one apiece. A minute and a half into the 6 that were added. Carter Vickers was looking for Maida, but Husai reads the danger and gets out there first. Maida trying to stick with him, buzzing around, but Husai deals with it well. But his pass to Pedro wasn't one that the Spaniard particularly wanted. Such a decorated footballer for club and country, Pedro, but Lazio have lost out. Here's O'Reilly, right-hand side of the box. He's been the magic man for Celtic this season. It's his body check to the deck, but the referee waves his finger again. Free kick.
That's a foul. That is a foul. Some of them, you know, I agree with the referee. It's a foul for me.
It's a good touch by Castellanos, and he is fouled by McGregor. Free kick. 2 minutes of the 6 that were added have come and gone, and Celtic, frustratingly for them, have given away a free kick over on the left-hand side inside the Lazio half. It's been taken by Husai to Patrick, and now Guendouzi on this near side. Chip ball down the right-hand touchline. Here's Marusic. There are a couple in the middle. The cross comes in. It's decent. It's headed away from the penalty spot though by Carter Vickers. Brought crashing to the ground by Vicino, who's going to be booked.
Yeah, another great header from Carter Vickers inside the box. Knew exactly where to position himself to get and where the danger was going to come from, and gets a good solid header and to clear the danger. But it was a good play down this right-hand side from Lazio. That Guendouzi involved in the play, puts a lovely ball down the side of Celtic's defence.
We've seen some dramatic late goals in this place in European matches in the last couple of decades. Nakamura against Manchester United, McDonald against Milan, Julian against Lazio. What can Celtic do against the same opponents with less than 3 minutes left? Here's Scales, 1-1, out to the left for Taylor. Taylor turns back the way to Scales. Celtic desperately trying to find ways to get forward. Lazio actually pushing up at the moment.
You've got to hit the front man.
Scales goes long.
Absolutely.
Chip ball up towards onto the chest of the South Korean, who finds Palma on the near side. Maurizio Sarri claims that ball went out. The linesman doesn't agree. It's with Scales. Short ball to McGregor. As it stands, a night of what might have been for the Scottish champions. Last season, they managed just a couple of draws against Shakhtar Donetsk. And that goes out for a Celtic throw-in on the far side. Began with defeat in Rotterdam to Feyenoord. Being held at home here by Lazio. One apiece, 2 minutes left. Scales for Celtic, long left foot ball, looking for Palma. Maricic just lets it go across his body though, and behind for the goal kick. And Brendan Rodgers down there can do no more. He's not happy with Luis Palma. He wants him back into his position before Lazio take this goal kick.
He's asking him for him to come to feet when Liam Scales has got the ball. And when Scales is stepping up, Palma is showing him that he wants to go in, he wants the ball in behind. But then Scales puts his head down to play the pass, and Palma drops a little bit and then has to go and try and make up the ground. Brendan's asking him to come to feet and get the ball in possession, because when you put the ball in behind the defender, it becomes a race, and then you're not in control of the situation.
Carter Vickers is in trouble. Chance here for Lazio, the edge of the box. Guendouzi, right hand side of it. Oh. Delicate ball, Pedro's header's in! Lazio score! And it's Pedro, the multiple Champions League winner, has won it for the Italians, and that is a savage blow for Celtic here. Lazio do to the Scottish champions what Celtic did to them 4 years ago, and it's the old warhorse Pedro who's managed to head it back across Joe Hart and into the reverse right-hand corner of the net. Sheer heartache for Celtic. It's Celtic 1, Lazio 2 in the final minute of stoppage time.
Wow, out of nothing, absolutely out of nothing. Celtic were in control, they were passing it, they were maybe taking a little bit of risk at the back, just keeping the ball, when I thought maybe they play it high, play it in behind them, get them up the pitch, and then they give it away. Carter Vickers getting caught on the ball, almost in a very, he tried to use his body when there was 3 or 4 players around him, and he just couldn't hold them off, and they won it back, and then that little dink to the back post again. Header, brilliant header, you've got to say, back across Joe Hart.
Yeah. The finish is excellent. This goal has totally come against the run of play this second half. Celtic have been excellent in terms of their control, and you would expect, maybe to get a few more chances. But when Guendouzi gets down that right hand side and he puts the ball across, Pedro's leap and his header, the ball's behind him, he's having to generate the power and the direction, and it's just a sensational header from him, really is. Joe Hart long-footed, the ball creeps in at the back post in the side netting, but it's a hammer blow for Celtic because they have been really good this second half.
3 Champions League titles, 1 Europa League title, 5 La Ligas, couple of Super Cups. He won the World Cup and European Championship. Pedro looks to have won it for Lazio, surely, and Maricic is away down this near side. And Celtic supporters, many have gone now. We played 7, 6 were added. 2-1 Lazio. Here's Paulo Bernardo, but there's no more time. Lazio have just dealt Celtic a savage Champions League blow here with a haymaker produced by the veteran Pedro. His cushion header back across the face of Joe Hart into the net means Celtic lose their first 2 group matches in this season's Champions League. A nightmarish finale with Pedro applying the final touch. And it all started so promisingly as well when Kyogo gave Celtic the lead in 11 minutes. They started the game so well. Pegged back though in that first half by Vicino's header before Pedro's late heroics. And it all came after Luis Palma thought he himself might have won this game. And but for the slightest of touches from Maida, he would have done, as the VAR check ruled it offside. Palma's talking to the officials just now, looking for an explanation, but the replay did seem to suggest that Maida got the slightest of touches onto it, and then came the worst possible ending for the Scottish champions. Beaten in Rotterdam by Feyenoord, they've now been beaten at home by Lazio, and they now face a double header against the Spanish giants Atletico Madrid, with the first game here in Glasgow before the return in the Metropolitano, when they will try and breathe life back into their Champions League campaign. But it's going to be a long way back for them now. The other 3 teams have all won a game in the group. Celtic sitting without a point in Group E. as the Lazio players go to celebrate with their supporters off to our right, who celebrated wildly when that goal was ruled offside from Palma, and even more so when Pedro nodded home the winner with one of the last touches of the evening. It finishes here. A dispiriting, demoralising end for Celtic. Celtic 1, Lazio 2.